Dobrý den, vítejte na mém kanále Czech by Zuzka, kde vám pomocí angličtiny vysvětluju českou gramatiku. Today we will take a look at the word než. Než can be translated as than, as in vyšší než já, taller than me, but also as a connector before. I'll give you plenty of examples so you can practice how to use this word. Jdeme na to. First, we will take a look at než when we make a comparison, when we compare two things and we say that one is different than the other. Moje sestra je starší než já. My sister is older than me. Moje sestra je starší než já. Remember that although it is spelled N-E-Z with háček, it is pronounced než. Š. Než. Starší než já. Ty jsi daleko lepší než ostatní. You're far better than others. Ty jsi daleko lepší než ostatní. Ten dům je starší více než 100 let. That house is older than 100 years. Ten dům je starší více než 100 let. I'm sure you noticed the construction. Before než, we use an adverb or an adjective that is in the second degree. For example, starší než, older than, lepší než, better than. Or an adverb could be lépe, in a better way. Děláš to lépe než ostatní. You do it better than others. Lépe než. Now I would like to give you 3 sentences containing než as a comparison that we often use. Je to silnější než já. It is stronger than me. You can use this as an excuse when something was just too tempting. Je to silnější než já. Or bylo to silnější než já. Je to lepší, než jsem čekal. Než jsem čekala. It is better than I expected. Je to lepší, než jsem čekal. And the last one is an idiom. It's a funny one. Je to lepší než drátem do oka. This means it's better than nothing. But when you translate it literally, it is kind of funny and very descriptive. It's better than being poked in an eye with a wire. So you say this when there is something not very exciting, but you know, it's better than nothing. Lepší než drátem do oka. We can say do oka, or you can be more informal and say do voka, do voka. Je to lepší než drátem do voka. The second use of the word než, we use it as a connector, and usually it's translated as before, so before something happens. Než tam dojedeme, bude půlnoc. Before we get there, it will be midnight. Než tam dojedeme, bude půlnoc. Trvá to asi 10 minut, než tam dojedu. It takes about 10 minutes before I get there. Trvá to asi 10 minut, než tam dojedu. Okay, before I give you another example, I want you to look at these 2 sentences and look at the verb that follows než. You see that we have dojedeme and dojedu. The tense is future. These are perfective verbs. So I want to point out a very important rule that the tense used after než can be either future or past, but never present. You can also use conditional, but do not use present. Because something is done before it happens or before it happened. Let me give you an example with past tense. Než jsem pochopila, o co ve filmu šlo, byl konec. Before I understood what the movie was about, it was over. Než jsem pochopila, o co ve filmu šlo, byl konec. Než can also be translated as until sometimes. For example, počkej, než přijdu. Wait till I come. Počkej, než přijdu. Notice again, přijdu is in future. Now, I would like to tell you a couple of sentences, phrases and idiomatic expressions where než appears. It will be a bit of a mixture. Sometimes we can translate it as then, and sometimes it will be the connector before. Bude to dřív, než se naděješ. It will be before you know it. It will be done before you know it. Dřív, než se naděješ. Bude to dřív, než se naděješ. So this expression, dřív, než se naděješ, by itself you can use for anything before you realize. An idiomatic expression that we use for something also happening very quickly is a bit archaic, but you can still see it in stories, for example, fairy tales. Než bys řekl švec. Before you know it, or in a blink of an eye, or I also found that you can translate it as before you can say Jack Robinson. Never seen it, so you can tell me if this is something that you say. Než bys řekl švec literally means before you say a shoemaker. Švec is an archaic word for shoemaker. If you want to use a bit modern expression, you could say než bys do 3 napočítal. Before you could count to 3. Než bys do 3 napočítal. So that also means in a blink of an eye. Karel, ten nadělá víc škody než užitku. Karel, he does more harm than good. Karel, ten nadělá víc škody než užitku. And I want to teach you a Czech saying. Lepší vrabec v hrsti, nežli holub na střeše. This is translated as a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. Lepší vrabec v hrsti, nežli holub na střeše. This literally translates in Czech as it is better to have a sparrow in your hand, lepší vrabec is a sparrow, than a pigeon on the roof, než holub na střeše. Lepší vrabec v hrsti, než holub na střeše. Or sometimes we say nežli holub na střeše. And let me give you one example where než would be translated maybe something different than then. Nezbývá než čekat. There's no choice but wait. Nezbývá než čekat. So there's no choice but waiting. There's nothing left than waiting. Nezbývá než čekat. Now I want to show you a couple of examples from the Czech corpus so you see more context. So let's have a look at a couple of examples here where než is used as a connector with another clause or just comparing two things. You have the Czech sentences on this side and the English translation on the right hand side. 1. Cítím, že víc než kdy jindy potřebuji přijít doma do nekonfliktního prostředí. Víc než kdy jindy. This is a phrase that we can hear quite often. More than ever. Víc než kdy jindy. 2. Koťata rostou přibližně 18krát rychleji než děti. So faster than. Rychleji než. 3. Než bychom si lámali hlavu, co s tím, raději to zlikvidujeme. This is an interesting phrase. Rather than worrying, než bychom si lámali hlavu. Sometimes we can use it in this context and we use another clause, než with a verb. Než bychom si lámali hlavu. Rather than we would be worrying. 4. Nezbývalo nám nic jiného, než se přidat. Nic jiného než. No choice but. There was nothing left for us than to join. 5. Trvalo mi dost dlouho, než jsem si zvykl na to, že jsem na jevišti každý večer před zraky desítek a stovek lidí obnažený. Než jsem si zvykl jsem si, this is past tense. So remember when we use it as a connector of two clauses, as in before, then there would be a verb in the future tense or in past tense. Než jsem si zvykl, that's past tense. 6. Než se rozloučíme, vypráví mi Karel ještě o divadlech. Before we say goodbye. Before we will say goodbye. This is future tense. And let's do a little exercise. Now we are going to practice the use of než to connect two clauses where it is usually translated as before. We have the English translation here. And what we are going to do is we have než, and then in brackets we have a verb. You have to complete these verbs with the right form. That's written here. Form of the pronoun, já, ty, etc. And also you have to decide whether it's going to be past tense or future tense. It is important to understand the sentence so you can decide what tense it's going to be. I'll show you the right answers in a few seconds. Now pause the video and work on this exercise. And done. Trvalo mi asi den, než jsem se rozhodl odstěhovat se do České republiky. This is past tense. Než půjdeš spát, future tense. Nezapomeň vypnout televizi. Řekni mi to, než to zapomeneš. Future tense. Zmiz, než napočítám do 3. Future. Vyjeli jsme dřív, než vyšlo slunce. Past tense. I hope you did well. Dámy a pánové, to je ode mě všechno. Napište mi, co jste se dneska ve videu dozvěděli a já se s vámi uvidím zase za týden. Ahoj!